Good afternoon. Today is Wednesday, June 5th, 2024. It's 4:30 p.m., and this is the Cable Communication Advisory Board. First item up is a roll call, and we do have a quorum, so we'll move ahead to item number 2, and that's the election of officers. We're still looking for a secretary for 2024. We weren't able to do that at the last meeting, but I have a feeling somebody might be interested. What do you think, Seth?
I think we may have somebody
Yeah,
that.
who would that be?
Christina,
Is this
would
a
you be interested?
nomination process or a volunteer process?
We just like to slate
Voluntold.
Are you nominating Kristen?
Yeah.
Okay, we have a nomination for Kristen, and since we don't have any other board members, I don't think I gotta call it out 3 times like you're supposed to. So all those in favor for Kristen as being our secretary, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 3.1, the minutes from the January 24th, 2024 Cable Advisory Board meeting. I'll accept a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll offer the motion to approve the minutes from January 24th, 2024 meeting.
I second that motion.
Motion and a second. Any comments on anything? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 4.1, NewCat activities. Accept the report on NewCat for the period January 24 to April of 24. Mr. Steve, go ahead.
Sure. We have our reports here from January through May. They include all of our studio productions, all of the recordings here in the council chambers, as well as recordings we've done in the community. We'll go into more detail about some of those productions in the programming report. So if there's any other questions or anything that you noticed that you would like to know more about.
You know, I noticed, I've been on this board for 16 years, and we used to sell a lot of DVDs way back 16 years ago. Now I see we don't sell any. So should we just take that off your list, or what do you
Every
think?
once in a while, we do sell some
okay.
DVDs.
Yeah, last meeting we had a big spike in 1 month.
Did we?
I think there was actually 1 month where we did have some that came in after I put in the report, so it doesn't reflect here. But it does happen occasionally. Once a year, we do sell some DVDs to the ice skating club,
So probably parents of kids stuff?
parents of kids for that program.
That makes sense.
But a lot of the other ones that we would sell in the past have sort of dried up. I think we put a lot of our content on YouTube now, so people can watch
Still
it there.
$5 or?
$5 for a single layer and $10 for the dual layer. If it's 2 hours or longer, or if it's just it's more often the higher,
Sure.
4K content that we're creating needs a larger disc. So
So is the other content, or the content that's on the DVD is also on YouTube as well?
mostly that's what we anything that we shoot in the community, we put on our YouTube channel. That sometimes we will shoot things for like the Brown County Historical Society, and they run their own YouTube channel, so we give them the video and it's available there.
Okay.
So it's kind of scattered throughout different channels, but mostly.
Okay. Anything else that sticks out in your report?
Nope, nothing to note from me.
I would entertain a motion then to accept the report.
I move to accept this report as presented.
Okay.
We'll second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 4.2, NewCat programming update.
All right, so in front of you, we have the programming updates. We have a list of all of the different original programs that we've created, including our regular shows, such as Don't Forget to Read the Instructions. We had 2 new episodes of that. Living United, we had 4 episodes of Living United. You can welcome Vicki here.
Okay.
Something Artsy, monthly, we've continued recording monthly episodes of Something Artsy. Each episode of that show is usually about 5 to 7 interviews that we record, all relating to community arts related events. We did 5 new episodes of the New Ulm Forum, covering different topics such as the Farm City Hub Club, Brown County Veteran Services, New Moss House, the library's strategic planning, and the City of New Ulm strategic planning.
Okay.
We also worked with the League to record their series on energy, included are the advantages and costs of wind and solar, the energy efficient home, environment in the neighbor friendly yards, and rebates, resources, and opportunities. We did a promo for the opening of the Wanda Gog exhibit in the studio. And we also did an interview on the opportunities available at the letterpress and printmaking studio at the Grand Cellar Press. We did a PSA for the PUC on the lead pipe survey that they are conducting. And then we recorded an author visit with Stacy Andrea, a mystery author who was presenting. We recorded 4 historical society presentations, including Saving Your Stuff. She Did What, which I think, were you included with
Yeah.
that? Yes, that was a really cool one.
Yeah, it was fun.
Homes Built as Strong as Time and The Great Storm about the Minnesota victims in the January 7th, 1873 blizzard. And then we have our submitted programs, which are either weekly or monthly submissions that we've taken in, including our DNR series that, or their DNR series that they submit weekly. The gardening series is picked back up for the summer. Let's see. And then we have our YouTube channel report. So we have 2 YouTube channels, one for just NewCat content and then one for the City of New Ulm's government contents. We got 8,000 views in the period since our last meeting, 441 hours of watch time, 19 additional subscribers. And then with the City of New Ulm, we had 1.9 thousand views, 191 hours of watch time, and 5 additional subscribers.
You know, just a question, I know we put the city put a ton of money into the comprehensive plan. I mean, $100,000 into that document, and it just was approved last night. Is that gonna be available on our website, or is there any of the presentations that actually talks about it, or even from last night?
That'll be available on the City of New Ulm's government YouTube channel. So if the whole presentation was given during the city council meeting, and so that can be accessed
Okay.
by viewing the
Good.
meeting there.
It's really, if you get a chance to, even if you just skim it, it's 100-plus pages, but even if you just skim it, it's really a good document. If you go all the way to the last couple pages, it's the summary, and then that really tells you what the city plans to do for the next 20 years.
And I think if you want to look at it more thoroughly outside of a video, you can go to the iCompass website, and which you can get linked through by the city website, and you can look at it more in detail.
And this fall,
there.
the strategic plan will be done. We heard that will be done, July, August, I think, something like that, which is going to, marry the documents, but the strategic plan is only good for like 5 years, where the comprehensive plan is good for 20 years. So.
Making
good.
sure they're all on
It's
the
nice
same
to get some of
page.
that stuff updated. That comprehensive plan, last one was 2007, and that was only an update. It wasn't a new one, so
Spend some time, yeah.
it was more than time.
Quick question, did you have any more episodes on how New Ulm works in progress?
We're going to do an episode on the. You want to take that?
Yeah. So we had connected with MLC on the Hill to do a project with them for it, but it kind of fell through. They couldn't get everybody together, and sort of we just missed it on that one. I think we'll probably have to try again in the fall. We're looking at maybe doing one this summer. I'm not sure. We had discussed possibly doing Parks and Recreations because they have a couple facilities I think would work well for that. And as far as reaching out to other businesses, we've tried a few, but
We did do a video on the pod model daycare.
Oh, good.
That was initially supposed to be an episode of how New Ulm works, but we didn't really have a lot of people in it. It was just Heather, so we kind of made it a bit of a shorter video, but it was still a really successful video. I think just letting people know what how it works, and
we also did something similar with the State Street Theater where it was a small tour. Yeah, but they're not a big,
30-minute
employer,
episode,
so-
more like 5 to 10 minute episode, just more of a tour and an explanation. So.
Well, we know Tina Smith has already been down here to see it, and Amy Klobuchar was scheduled at one time, but then that got rescheduled, and I don't think she's been down here yet. But, yeah, that's just been a real cool thing for our community. So, okay, any other comments on your report, programming report?
No, but if anyone has any other questions,
Okay.
That's all I have.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the programming update.
I'll offer the motion to receive the programming update from January through May 2024.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any last comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's move into old business and see what kind of trouble these two guys got into in Las Vegas.
All right.
No trouble, okay. I didn't think so, I'm just teasing. But I'm very, I've been to some conferences in Vegas, and they're usually really good.
Yeah, it was incredible. Just the
Yeah.
sheer volume of stuff that we saw and experienced and got to see like new and upcoming stuff. So
Yeah.
we'll just go over that really quickly here. First of all, we did 6 classes total in something called Post-Production World, which is just, videography or training of various kinds. We selected 5 classes total. We took 1 class at the same time, which was asset management, because that's what our project for this year is we're redoing our asset, essentially our storage. Stephen took a typography class and a brand management class, and I took a class on AI for video and nonfiction storytelling. The asset management class that we took, honestly, it was really valuable because it kind of showed us that we're doing a lot of things right.
Yeah.
As far as our storage and what we have for scale for our type of facility. Right now, we have about probably 40 terabytes of storage on premises in a NAS system. We're looking to upgrade, which will be the next item we're talking about, to about 100 terabytes. So that'll be the project that we're working on. But as far as any additional software or file management systems, we're not at the level where that would be something that we would necessarily need to invest in. And as far as what's out there, it doesn't seem like there's a lot out there that's better than what we're already doing. So that was really informative, if not as exciting as some of the other classes we took. I feel like that was one of the more valuable ones we took. And I'm glad we both got to sit in and see that, like, hey, we're doing a lot of things right. And, maybe there's a few things we could do a little bit better, which we'll work on moving forward. But that's good. I'll let you take on
I took the typography class, and it was an opportunity to learn some new tips and skills with typography and fonts and graphics in editing. So animated typography, different motion graphics, After Effects, and different motion techniques.
I took a similar class like probably 7 or 8 years ago. It was very cool, and you got to learn a lot in those ones.
They're short classes. They're only like 50 minutes to an hour, but it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
Right.
And they give you a lot of like pointing to like different resources you can use after the fact for additional help. So I took a class on AI, which based on what I saw, there is a lot coming for AI, but not a lot of it is here yet. There's some really exciting tools in Adobe that are, I would say, actionable right now, and we have been using since we got back. There's a really great text-to-edit function where if we have a longer program, we can translate it all into a single Word document. Search for words to edit from, search for pauses, search for anything just in like a text box, and it'll bring it right to where you are in the video so you can make your edits right away. It's incredible. You can take subtitles from there. You can burn in titles. It's all done like that automatically with AI. It's incredible. There's other stuff. They do like AI-driven shorts from old content. You upload it to this thing online, and it'll produce short format videos for like YouTube or TikTok or whatever. We don't use TikTok, but we've put up a few on YouTube using this, and it comes with a decent product, and you don't really have to do anything. They just download it and put it out there, as opposed to having to take it and make your own little shorts out of it. What else? Yeah, they had talked about a lot of automated editing and automated audio stuff that I don't think is quite there yet, and probably won't be there for a little bit more, maybe 6 months to a couple years even. Yeah, I don't know. But takeaway is, I think anything that's going to be really valuable for us is going to be already integrated into Adobe and stuff that we're already paying for. We have the Adobe suite. We have access to all their tools. I just got to pay attention to when they release updates to see what's new and to what we can start using and how that's going to help us moving forward.
I took a class on brand management. have a brand here in New Cat in the city of New Ulm, so I thought that would be a good opportunity. It was, heavily focused on just discovering what your niche is and who your audience is, who it is you're trying to sell to or to reach. And the presenter was a travel vlogger, so it was a good opportunity to see something from a different perspective of video production.
The last class that I took was Elements for Nonfiction Storytelling. It was by this excellent creative director and videographer who talked a lot about working with non-actors and setting up your interviews so that they can be the most successful, doing really strong pre-interviews so that you have information that you need going into the interview so that when you're on set, you're not struggling to get the things out of the person that you want to get out of them. Talked a lot about how to set up your sound so that it works appropriately and how to shoot B-roll and how to not shoot B-roll. It was a very interesting class. A lot of stuff that I didn't even think about, a lot of stuff that I was already working with, but it was really cool to listen to other people talk about how to do that kind of thing. So, the exciting part, the show floor,
It's always my favorite part.
is just mind-boggling.
Massive, yeah.
Because you come into it with this idea of what you're going to see, and it's often not what we end up seeing because it's just the sheer volume of technology and innovation that you have, and these is mind-blowing. So first of all, we are talking. First goal was to sort of investigate our current project for this year, which was storage. So we met with a company called Backblaze, which is a cloud storage solution, and we talked to them about certain solutions, and we came to the conclusion that they might be a good partner to work with to store our data temporarily while we update our NAS, because we don't have a better way to store 40 terabytes of data. And we looked at, I spoke to probably 20 maybe other storage, cloud storage and temporary storage places, and nobody else had the same value proposition. And I spoke to IT, and we kind of talked about it, and it seemed like that was probably the best way we're going to end up doing that. And I spoke to QNAP, which is the company that built the current NAS solution that we have, about recommendations for hard drives, which is why we're recommending the ones that we're recommending. I met with a dozen or so teleprompter vendors because we're looking to get a teleprompter for, when we're doing stuff for the city or for other people who, so like when we're working on PSAs with PUC, oftentimes there'll be long technical data that people have to memorize and then read back to us. And it'll just be a lot easier if we can get them a teleprompter that's going to be cost effective and easy to use, so that when we're doing stuff like that, it's more comfortable for the on-camera talent.
A lot of times people will come in with a script and they are afraid of looking down too much,
Yep.
and so that will be a good solution for that.
Yeah. We met with some tripod vendors because some of our tripods are broken. I think almost all of them are broken at this point. So we're looking to replace those in maybe next year or later this year if we have the budget for it, and just seeing what's coming down in terms of what like new tricks and innovations. There was some really cool stuff that probably out of our budget now. They have this one that was like one switch and all legs come down and all come back up, and like just different things that would be cool, but. Just seeing what else is out there, what the price point is now versus, when we bought them last, and what sort of value you get out of those different price points. Steven scouted some replacements for our aging Canon cameras. We actually, one is broken now. We had two. They're XF105s. They're HD cameras. They're probably 10 plus years old now. I don't even know. How old are those cameras?
Probably, close to 10, maybe
Yeah.
8 years old.
Which is sort of towards the end of just general operational life. So that might be something we're thinking about replacing. He took a look at. What did you take a look at? I didn't see the Canon cameras. You saw them, right?
Yeah, it was just a 4K. It looks very similar to what we have currently, but it's in 4K. So it's just.
I think something like that is great because they're so easy to use, and you can loan them out to the community members, and it's 5 minutes worth of training versus some of our other cameras are a little bit harder. Fixed lens cameras are usually good for that kind of run and gun style too, and that's what we use to record most of the Brown County meetings. So it gets a ton of use, and obviously replacing those eventually is something we're probably going to have to do. And then we talked to a bunch of other places for things that might be cool to have. Like we talked to a company called RTS about a ClearComm communications for like when we're doing parades or something like that, so we can talk to each other in the studio and the cameras and the directors, so that we're not just trying to like hand sign to people like get that float. That's probably not something we end up doing maybe, but it was interesting to see what sort, because traditional ClearComm is you're talking about stadiums. They're built out with fiber optic and but they're coming up with more run and gun solutions nowadays where, it's a cell phone network adaptation where we can use your cell phone. Everybody gets an app on their cell phone and they can all be connected to the same ClearComm channel versus, which is a little obviously less expensive, still probably more expensive than we'd be looking to spend. But, and then all the cool new stuff that's coming up that may in 10 years be in our price range. Motion tracking graphics was something that was really cool. I took a look at that. Probably not something that we have a lot of use for, but it's just incredible technology that I hadn't even thought we'd end up seeing something for. Automated camera systems, which I think are getting really advanced and maybe something in the next couple of years we'd be looking at to use for solutions for maybe if we want to start doing some other stuff like for the parade where we have a couple automated cameras that automatically track the floats. That way we can have more cameras and more positions. 4K broadcast, just AI everything. They had AI everything. The whole place was AI. They had robots everywhere. It was crazy. All right. And that is essentially all of things that we saw and took them. And Stephen sat in on more presentations than I could even count. And I was walking around talking to all the vendors. It was a great experience. It was, yeah.
Where was the conference at again? What?
It was in the Las Vegas Convention Center.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Huge.
How many people are at this con? Isn't it-
Oh, man.
Oh man, just thousands
of
upon
thousands.
Yeah,
Really?
we didn't even see the whole show floor, and we walked for 3
I'm
days
sure.
basically. It was, I was like trying to find parts of it, and I was like, I know there's more that way, and I can't get over there. It's
You
just-
had to take a hyperloop to get from one side of the thing
Yeah.
to the other. With
it was crazy.
Well, good. Every time you guys go to this, you always come back with a bunch of good information, and like I always said, it's like you start seeing what's coming down the pike, and you know what it is when people talk about it.
Yep.
Whether or not we can't afford it right now, we might in a year or two.
And you also
And
see
I knew the AI was going to be a
what has
big
dropped
thing.
off too, because there's stuff that we saw 5 years ago that we thought was like the future. It's gone.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just evaporated. It wasn't there at all.
Yep. Questions from the commission?
No, great report. That was really good.
Yeah, very
Thank
thorough.
you.
So I entertain a motion to accept the 2024 National Association of Broadcasters Conference Report.
I move to accept the 2024 National Association of Broadcasters report. I'll second
A motion, we got a second. Any last comments? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Let's go into new business. Purchase of additional hard drives to expand long-term video storage. Mr. Sherman.
Sure. So we are looking to purchase 8 disk drives to expand our long-term storage. Do you want to maybe explain the project a little bit more in detail?
So essentially, we have I think 5 drives right now on a NAS drive that fits 8 drives, but they're all separate pools of storage. So we don't have a single place where all of our like archival footage rests. It rests in like 5 different hard drives that we have to go into. So in order to fix that, we have to offload 40 terabytes and then reinstall these 8 new drives and expand our storage pool because we're about at capacity right now. Our capacity is 40 terabytes. Current storage level is, I think, 37 terabytes. So, we're coming up to the end where we're just not going to be able to fit any more stuff on there. So once we get it offloaded and install these new drives, we'll have about 100 terabytes of storage, which should last us for a few more years. Maybe, I'd say 3 to 5 at least. And maybe more with good management, which at this point it's hard to manage. There's probably duplicate files in there. I'd estimate maybe 10% of our current storage is duplicated files. But it's hard to manage that when they're separated into different pools. I can't accurately identify if they're 2 separate files or if they're the same file twice, or if the files that look the same are parts of each file, Going through 40 terabytes of that is just an impossible task. But when it's all in the same location, it'll be a lot easier to sort and go through and hopefully eliminate maybe 10% of that storage so we can continue on into the future with with more data.
Was this in the budget at all?
Yes.
Was, okay. And it seems like a pretty reasonable price for what you're getting, to me anyway.
Yeah.
You guys know more about that than I do, but.
Yeah, we have about 14-ish years, not all of 14 years, but about 14 years worth of video footage from the past projects that we want to keep, contained. And doing this too will, right now, they're all individual pools without what's called a RAID system. So like if one of those pools of data failed, all of that would be gone. We wouldn't have any way to recover it. Whereas when we get these new drives in, we're going to install what's called a RAID 2, which will allow, so essentially it'll be 6 drives that are used for full data, and then there'll be 2 set aside to back up. So if one of the drives fails, we'll be able to hot swap it with the new drive without losing anything.
So we got 2 quotes, one from B&H and one from Adorama. B&H was just slightly shorter. It was pretty much almost identical, but we have a relationship with purchasing from B&H in the past, and that's gone well for us. So we would recommend purchasing for B&H.
All right, Commission, what's your wishes?
I'm fine with it. I think we need to move forward, especially if they're up against a wall, plus it creates some redundancy, which is good. We don't want to lose what we've got. So I'll offer the motion to recommend the approval of the purchase of 8 hard disk drives to expand the long-term storage.
Okay, we got a motion, do we got a second?
I second that.
Motion, second. Any other comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Last major item is Brown County Board recording space. Mr. Sherman.
Sure. So we had discussed at our last meeting, maybe talking about some potential changes or updates that we could do for the Brown County recording space, as it, could probably use that. I think people who are watching that meeting are probably wondering why the technology is maybe not as good, because we're just kind of, it's a small room. We're just using one camera in the back. Do you have any, some of your ideas on?
Well, I mean, we'd have to get funding from them basically
Yeah.
to do it.
We've talked about it, and I think that's something we would have to meet with the Brown County
See that as being that
administration.
expensive? It's not, this day and age with technology, that if there's a camera sitting up there in that corner there and you can flip a switch from back here, it would automatically shoot. Is that
Yeah,
just massively
mean,
expensive?
As far like something like this is like, I think it was like $5,000 when we bought it. It's probably 2 now, 2.5. So we're talking about that plus this, the lowest possible price I could think of for something like a project like that would be like $15,000.
Really?
That just off the top of my head, thinking about how much each individual item costs to make it just like a flip a switch to. And you could do it for cheaper, but it would be harder to run and cost more staff time to keep it up and running. Basically, anytime you cut a corner on cost, you're basically increasing the burden on staff. Like this room is really easy to use because it costs so much.
IT room.
And it was
Yeah.
about 60,000, 65.
Yeah.
Now, in the past, the county board has said, no, we're not paying nothing. But then, there's a new commissioner now. I mean, would they have a change of heart? 'Cause I hear complaints, I do.
Yeah, I'd be happy with them to just start hosting the meetings on YouTube. Because right now, when we record, after the week that it plays, it doesn't go anywhere. We don't host it on ours. We don't host it on the city's, obviously. Right now, it sits on our servers until I have to delete it so that we can put some more stuff on there. Which
Why don't we?
It's a lot of content, and it's
Yeah.
like the Brown County's content to manage. I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
running their social media accounts,
yeah,
essentially.
we couldn't run their social media
I don't think
accounts
that. I
without
think that would
permission
probably
from the
cross some
county.
sort
Yeah.
of conflict there. So they would need someone on their end who would want to step up and run a YouTube account, and we could get them the video for sure.
Yeah, we do that with a lot of other people, like the Historical Society or anybody else. We just have a Google Drive. We drop it in there, and they'd get it out, and then the next week they'd do it again. A couple hours, upload, download time, 5 seconds to put it on YouTube.
Well, I know the volume is good. When I've watched it a few times, the volume's really good.
Yep.
But it's just like, who's talking? I can't, it's just two heads.
It's pretty hard to
It's
tell.
two heads that are nodding, because you only get in the back of their heads. So it's frustrating when you watch it, and that's what I hear from other people, is It used to be the volume too, but I think the volume's really good. So is it worth asking you guys to sit down with Sam?
Yeah, we
I
can,
would,
we
yeah,
can
I
plan
think
on
it would
that.
be great to work something out with them in terms
Put it
of.
on a work session in their world and
Yeah.
Yeah.
see if they got any change of heart?
I mean, we could obviously get quotes to bring to them too, if that's something that they want to do, but yeah.
We
I
can
think
start
first step
with
would
a
just be
meeting
talking
and-
to them
and-
about it, yeah.
Maybe
Maybe
now
go
would be a
from
pretty
there.
good time 'cause it's an election year, huh?
Maybe.
They get close-ups on their face now.
Okay, any other comments on this topic? I'd like to see it happen, I really would. I just think it's part of government is know what's going on, but,
Yep.
so, okay. Does that require an option? No, we don't need a board motion on that. So, board member comments, anything going on with the board?
Nothing, I'm glad you reported out. Looks like a good visit in Las Vegas, and it's nice to see technology, and it was interesting that, obviously, we all know AI is coming full bore, but so seeing some technology fizzle out was interesting to
Yeah.
hear as well. So it's
I
good,
could see
good
it
to hear that
changing their
report.
world almost more than anybody else's in the city.
Crazy how much,
Yeah.
just, I mean, like, obviously there were some vendors that, you know, they don't go anywhere. Adobe, Blackmagic,
Yeah.
Seagate, you know. But I remember when we went like 5 years ago, NVIDIA had a huge booth and they just weren't there because they don't care anymore. They're off in AI world. They're not doing broadcasts. They didn't have anything to promote for broadcast. That's, you know, and there's a dozen other companies that I remember having huge displays that were just gone, you know.
Did they talk at all about, and maybe it's again too soon, the verification of AI content?
I didn't have anybody talk about that. Most of the people were really hand waving any concerns away.
It was very positive.
Very
Yeah,
positive.
they were-
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
I mean, there were people asking questions exactly like that, and they're all like, "Well, if you don't adopt it, you're not going to have a job." I was like, "Okay, that doesn't reassure me at all."
Because that will be a huge issue, just,
Oh yeah.
especially filler content with AI. Just tell them to 1.5 hour story on New Ulm's history. Boom, it's done in a minute.
Yep.
And I would like,
T-shirts.
I would like to see a little bit more about what they saw with the Adobe and maybe some of the other AI features.
Yeah,
from you,
geez.
I mean, sharing it with us because
Absolutely,
as an
yeah.
educator, that's something that is,
Some really cool stuff for Adobe that just is already integrated in the program. We got back to the office and started using it right away, you know.
and I bet a lot of people in town would kind of be interested in finding out a little bit more about AI.
Anything else from anybody?
I was just gonna suggest or kind of a question. I know we have the program How New Ulm Works, and I was curious if we'd ever considered, I just know I'm a big history person, and I was talking to Darla Gebhardt at the museum about this when I was getting ready for She Did What, their program. I would be so interested to watch a New Cat program that was like a tour of some of the unique homes in New Ulm. So more on the residential side. I think when I
Sure.
was really young, my mom was in Women of Today, and they always did a tour of homes around Christmas. So I remember getting a chance to go into like some really beautiful,
yeah,
unique
there is
homes.
some.
And I just think, and maybe we could work with, or New Cat could work with Darla, someone at the museum, to maybe give someone like the history,
great.
similar to like what Lisa Besmer just did with she did like a program.
Whole presentation,
Yeah. I just think that would be so interested. I would tune in to
Lisa's
watch
a good
that.
option.
Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. We can definitely pursue
Yeah.
something like that. We just did a recording on the Wannagog House
Okay.
and did a tour of that house this morning.
Yeah.
So, but I think, doing more across the lines of
Yeah.
residential
'Cause
would be.
even people who don't live in New Ulm and they know I do, they'll be like, "Hey, like you're from New Ulm. What's the history of this house or this? Like."
Yeah, there's definitely a couple houses
some
in town
really
that are pretty
unique
cool that would be
places,
really
yeah.
interesting to get into.
Yeah.
I mean, we do work with Lisa a lot. Maybe that's something she'd be interested
And
in
Darla.
hosting
So,
too. Yeah.
she's a great
She
resource.
seemed-
Even the
yeah.
mayor would be a good host.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
She seemed very interested, and I guess she worked with
Kathy.
Mark Sandelman. Yeah, Kathy. Mark Sandelman was interested years ago to like be a host.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
if
could
that's-
figure
Yeah,
something
yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's pitched something similar before. Yeah.
Any other ideas?
I was just thinking along those lines, they also do the Master Gardeners where they do around different yards and what they've done to
I would love that,
beautify
yeah.
their areas
Well, yeah,
too, so
yeah.
that might be-
Gardens are very
People are just
photogenic.
dying to show off their gardens, so I think we would definitely
That would
find
be,
some
you know,
people.
if we did the house thing, you know, fall to spring, and then the summer do like a plant or master gardener show type
Good idea,
thing.
too.
Yeah.
We can look into that for sure.
Prefer the video, because they don't want them in their property and in the house.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, true,
Where they might want to zoom it and watch it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. Anything else? Hearing none, our meeting is adjourned.